Good evening. The Finance and Law Subcommittee shall come to order. Start out with roll call. Mrs. Shavs?
Present.
Mr. Viera?
Present.
Chairman DeMello, present. First item on the agenda, we have use of facilities. See attached memo. Mrs. Monahan, please.
Thank you, Dr. DeMello. It's outlined in the memo, the various organizations and the facilities, the dates, and any of the fees that we are charging the group. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Mr. Viera?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd make a motion to receive and place on file.
Seconded.
On discussion. So for the public at home, they don't really get to see these memos. I just want to point out that, for example, the annual Thanksgiving celebration that takes place at the Mulcahy Elementary School, that we waive all fees for the organizations that are so grateful enough to help all these families. So I think that's important for the public to know that, you know, we have community partners, but we also are a good community partner to make sure that they still have a great facility to do what they do. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Next up, we have the Special Education Expense Services. See attached memo. Back to you, Mrs. Monahan.
This is the month of August for Lions Law Group. This is the item that we always do bring to school committee for special education legal services. The memo looks a little different now. What I have done is I added last year's budget and last year's expenses compared to this year. So as you can see, comparing to last year of August, we spent $8,100, and this year we're just shy of $5,200, bringing our balance right now through the month here is $33,851 last year, and we are just above that, so we have spent a little bit less at $38,649.46 is the balance for this fiscal year.
I like the comparisons. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Mr. Viera.
I do too. I thought that was really nice to
Thank
get
you.
us ahead of time. So if it's appropriate, I'd like to make a motion to receive the memo and place it on file.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next up, we have the Chamberlain School Solar Inspection. See attached memo. That you, Mrs. Monahan?
It sure is. So I won't read it to you, but I will provide you a brief update. So on October 17th, JRB Electric inspected the solar system that is located at Chamberlain Elementary. The rooftop arrays were visually inspected for damaged wires, loose material, and damaged panels. The solar inverters were tested for DC voltage, AC voltage, and proper operating ranges. The AC panel board and AC disconnects were inspected for water intrusion, wire connections, and proper AC voltage. And then each paragraph will go ahead and explain how each one was tested. It will see there on the second paragraph, one of the head units was found to be faulty, and so a new unit will be shipped out and replaced. And then if you look to the bottom there, the last paragraph, it does state, after a full system review, the system is found to be in good working order. The rooftop arrays are secure and free from damage. The voltage ranges that were tested were all in acceptable ranges, 277 to 480 volts AC. All the optimizers and DC strings were found to be reporting and producing proper voltages, 16 volts for DC safety voltage. The inverters, excuse me, were operating properly. Disconnects and fuses are all working properly.
Mr. Viera.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Assistant Superintendent Monahan, could you remind me, how long have the panels been active on the school floor?
It's only been active not even a year yet.
All right, so how many inspections have been conducted since the panels have been active on the facility?
I believe this is the first time. So yes, this is, and they will provide a report once they do inspect the rooftop units.
Okay.
I think they went live in June,
In May, I think it was the end of May.
late May, early June.
Okay.
Mrs. Shavs?
Thank you.
The left head that was found faulty, is that under warranty?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, it is. So
Yes.
that will be shipped out, they'll replace it, and it'll be all set.
Do you know how long the equipment is under warranty?
That I do not know, but I can check. Is it 1 year? Thank you.
1 year? Okay, so good.
And then after the warranty, the city assumes all liability.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a comment or a question, I guess. JRB Electric, what is the relationship to the folks that installed it? Because I don't remember seeing this name before.
I believe this is, we can confirm, but I believe this was an independent inspection with no relationship to the contractor.
Okay, because it was my understanding that they were supposed to be doing the inspections, the installers. Are they still around? Are they still in business, or?
Yeah.
They
So,
are?
but they hired somebody to do it, the inspection, so it'd be no conflict of interest. So now you have that third party.
Okay.
Mr.
you.
Chairman, if I could
Yes,
through you.
Mr. Viera.
Are these inspections, are they gonna be conducted regularly going forward?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you know how often?
We can get the schedule.
Okay, all right, thank you so much.
Okay, anything else?
Motion to receive the memo and place on file.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next up, we have disposal of surplus equipment. First item is Taunton High School turf surplus, and 2 Hamilton Street is the second item.
There are multiple items for each one. The first one is the attic stock for the turf field. As you'll see there, that's an estimated value of $200. The next one is 30 pieces of turf shock pads at $30 is the estimated value. The next one is Crumb Rubber 2,000-pound super sacks. This is, I went to go ahead to confirm what it was. Crumb Rubber is made from ground-up tires, and it's used for the infield for the turf fields. So there's that, that was purchased in 2019. We have 3 of those, and the estimated value is about $500. And then the following items are from 2 Hamilton Street. We have a piano that is from 1906. The estimated value is $250. And the condition is considered to be poor. And there's a picture of that piano. The next item are 22 8-feet fold-up tables. And please, like, as I'm saying these two, I should have referenced to, was we did go ahead and ask all of our principals and their assistant principals and staff to see if they wanted any of these items before we came to school committee to declare any of these items surplus. So please know, we did have some of those items that the schools wanted. We did go ahead and take them out of 2 Hamilton Street and brought them over to the high school and to the alternative high school. And just so you know, I know Mrs. Shops, you always loved desks. Multiple desks went into the high school, so it's great to have those. So again, these here, we have 22 of these fold-up tables, about $200. Then we have 23 of these peach-colored student chairs. Then we have a very old desk, and it is definitely in poor condition it's not really, it works, but not really nice. The next item is a bookshelf with sliding glass doors. And then we have 3 metal desks, about $30 each. And then the last few items, the next one are 3 feet by 5 feet wooden tables. We have 6 of those. They're about $100 average each. And then we have 36 wooden chairs that go along with the table, about $250 total. Then we have a very old wooden conference table, and that is considered to be in poor condition. We have 3 of 8-feet tables, and they are in fair condition. And then the last item are shelving cabinets. They are poor. They're really not to be used. But again, it's one person's trash raise another man's treasure. So those are the items that are currently from THS and also 2 Hamilton Street.
Excellent. Mrs. Schaafs.
Question, if someone is interested in one of these, how do they contact Mark Freitas?
So what happens is when the school committee deems these surplus, Mark Freitas goes ahead and uploads them into what's called GovDeals. It is a platform where many people gain access to see things, and they bid on the items. So we've actually have sold them, and I could provide the school committee with how much we have. I believe we had just sold a big one from Taunton High School, all the old machinery that was deemed surplus a few months ago. So we're almost reaching about $15,000 in revenue of selling some of our items. So it is, so what happens is once they do, the bidding closes, the person who gets who wins the bid, they will reach out to Mark Freitas to have a date to pick up the items, and that's it. We just sold all of our cafeteria tables to another private school in a different state, so it was really great to see.
Can an everyday person bid
Sure
on
can,
this?
absolutely.
So-
And there are plenty of everyday people that do
That
this
just,
too.
yeah, you don't
Yes.
have to be an
No,
organization.
you
So
do
you
not.
said Gov deal?
Gov deals.
Yeah, okay, deals.
Superintendent?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and, so obviously, Gov Deals has been great, as Assistant Superintendent Moynihan mentioned, we've generated about 15,000 in revenue, but the committee also has the option, if you want, we can also see if there are local organizations, nonprofits, that would like this material before we put it on Gov bids for people to bid on too. You guys have done that in the past. Like
I
with the-
was just looking at the piano and figured if there was a former student from Coyle that had some sort of memory to, would someone be interested in buying it? How would they go about doing it? So,
So you can make that part of your motion, as that could be something that's donated by the community, by the committee.
yeah. Well, thank you.
Mr. Viera?
I just make a motion to dispose of the surplus items as presented in accordance with TPS policy and procedure in the city of Taunton.
I'll second that.
On discussion, so there has been some local interest on a couple of items, and to the committee, there's some items that have been out on the turf or turf materials that's been out there for quite a while, and there hasn't been any movement on it. And there are local organizations, I will not name it now, that have done a lot of good for the community, especially our teachers, our EMT, our fire, our police, that there are two items I think I would like to pull out and give this organization an opportunity. I mean, we're talking about attic turf stock and turf shock pads. So anyway, if the maker of the motion would amend to include these two items, come out of the gov deals, and like the superintendent suggested,
So moved.
Seconded.
second. Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, ayes have it. Thank you. So the two items that will not be in gov deals, attic turf stock and turf shock pads.
Noted, thank you.
Thank you. And next up, we have bills payable. First one is FY '25 in the amount of $52,375.50. Wishes of the committee.
Motion to approve the bills payable in the amount stated.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, ayes have it. Next up, we have bills payable for FY '26 in the amount of $1,636,170.52.
Motion to approve the bills payable for FY '26 in the amount stated.
Mrs. Shabs.
Seconded on discussion. Am I up?
Yes, Mrs. Shabs.
Thank you.
I knew you were going to ask a question.
Of course. So, Mrs. Monahan, page 4, Bay State sewage disposal. It says $1,500 approximately for equipment repairs.
So what it really is, it's considered to be the grease trap, and it's their cleaning that happens quite a bit. You'll see that coming through year after year, multiple times in a year.
Okay, thank you. Page 5, food truck builders. It says other student activity supplies, $6,300.
So this is their new freezer repair. Their H2O tank was, there was a problem with it, so we had to repair it.
On the food truck
Yes.
for the high school?
Yep, exactly.
Page 12, Faley linen supply for $625.
These are to clean our chef coats, the linens that our students wear. So that's the cleanings that we send out to this company.
Oh, that's nice. They look nice in those
They do.
coats, too. Page 29, scoreboard enterprise, $17,000. $17,764.
I believe. Sorry about that. Hold on a minute. I believe
Page
those are the
29,
scoreboards. Yeah,
yeah.
mine is a little bit off. Scoreboard. These are the video score tables for the high school athletics.
Video score tables. Page 31. It starts on page 30, Solient Health LLC, for $13,840.
So this is a vendor that we use to help provide us with special ed teachers, since we cannot fill those
Oh, I
positions.
remember
This is
that.
a contracted service that we have.
And the last one I have is on page 32, Gopher, for $24,936.37.
These are health and wellness items, equipment for the high school. And then they are also the other ones towards the bottom, the $300 one and the $1,000 one. Those are for Martin School, but the ones at the top of the, for Gopher are for the high school's health and wellness equipment, and the other ones are for Martin Middle School.
Okay, and the last thing is, I have 34 pages, but the last thing, the White Book Corp., I don't have the vendor total, so I didn't know if I was missing a page.
You are missing a page, so you're actually missing pages 33 and 34. So 33, the White Book, we had a total of $2,444.44. So those are White Book flip charts that you will see again, that's used all throughout the district. And then the last item that you do not have on your
Copy.
in your packet is Worthington Direct Holdings, and that item was for $87,909, and that's the purchase of the Friedman new cafeteria tables.
So the cafeteria tables. Can you give me the White Book total again?
Sure.
$2,444.44.
$2,444.44.
$44.44. So were you guys missing that also? Okay. Okay. I didn't know if it was just me.
Set?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Viera?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question on page 27, Rugby Architectural Building Products, in the amount of $13,609.02.
These are the 13,000, this is wood shop wood supplies for the high school.
Okay, one of our chapter 7.
Right, chapter 74
Okay.
programs, correct.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Viera. So the motion was made and seconded. I do, would like to be recorded as voting present on page 25. It's for Pride, Inc. in the amount of $4,608, since I serve on the board of directors and as co-treasurer. So the maker of the motion would kindly amend to include that.
Yes, so amended.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. And that concludes, no, we haven't, we did the second one, yeah.
Motion
okay.
to adjourn.
Yeah, good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you. Good evening. The first regular meeting of November for the Taunton School Commission come to order. Please stand for the national anthem and Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Kindly remain standing. Mrs. Fagan, Secretary Fagan.
Lord, as we begin this session, let us acknowledge your goodness and mercy and ask your blessings on all our deliberations. We thank you for this opportunity to be of service to our community and to the young people entrusted to our care.
Thank you. Secretary Fagan, roll call, please.
Yes. Mr. Enos.
Present.
Mrs. Shabs.
Present.
Mr. Polowski.
Present.
Mrs. Fagan's present. Ms. Santos.
Present.
Mr. Viera.
Present.
Mr. Laura.
Present.
Dr. DeMello, Chairman.
Present, thank you. First, let's start off by a quick note of congratulations to all our members that got reelected. Mr. Enos, sorry you won't be joining us next January, but we'll have a going-away party. If my colleagues are not opposed, as we have in the past, bring in the new member that will take office in January, Ms. Kerry Mullen, who is in the audience. So if my motion could be made, please.
I would so move it.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Please join us. Oops. Does she have a packet? You have a pen?
I do.
Good.
I'm a note taker.
So, first item on the agenda is approval of minutes of October 15, 2025.
Mr. Chairman, move approval of the minutes for that date stated, October 15, 2025.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, ayes have it. Next up, we have the Student Advisory Committee report, and we welcome Mr. Isaiah Wendell.
Thank you. As Dr. DeMello said, my name is Isaiah Windle, and I am part of the Taunton High School Student Advisory Committee. Some updates I'd like to share with you from Taunton High School. As we move deeper into the fall season, many of our fall sports are beginning to wrap up. It's been a great season overall, and I want to recognize all of our student athletes and coaches for their very hard work and dedication over the past few months. This Sunday, Taunton High School will be hosting its annual MDA Walk from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. This event brings together students, staff, and community members in support of the Muscular Dystrophy Association, and everyone is welcome to attend or participate. Academically, report cards closed on Friday, October 31st, and grades are expected to be available for viewing in the community portal by November 10th. This marks the end of the first quarter and gives students the chance to reflect on how the year is going so far. Looking ahead, the homecoming will take place on November 21st, and planning is already underway for what's sure to be another exciting night for students. Our fall musical, The Little Mermaid, will be performed on Friday, November 14th, Saturday, November 15th at 7 p.m., with it also appearing again on Sunday, November 16th at 2 p.m. The cast and crew have been working incredibly hard in shaping up to be a great performance. Also, coming up, Taunton High will host the Student Mini Summit with select students on November 14th, followed by a larger summit, like we did last year, on December 12th. Both events will focus on student leadership, collaboration, and creating opportunities for students to voice their opinions across the district. That concludes my student advisory report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Isaiah Wendell. Wishes of the committee?
Motion to accept the report.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We have public input. Secretary Fagan, do we have any public input
Bless
tonight?
you.
No.
There's no one signed up for public input. Moving on. Superintendent's report, Junior Achievement Day.
So I'll ask CEO Jeffrey Pelletier to make his way to the podium. And before CEO Pelletier addresses the group, I just want to make a quick comment. It was probably a good 10, 15 years ago that Will Mendonca, who many of us know, helped introduce JA to the Taunton Public Schools. Unfortunately, Will is usually at this presentation, but please keep Will in our thoughts and prayers as he's dealing with a family matter tonight, and he can't be here as he's caring for one of his parents. So with that being said, I know Jesse McPhail is here as well. I don't know if Jesse's part of the presentation, here for moral support? All right, so I'll turn things over to Jeff Pelletier, who's going to talk about one of my favorite days at E-Pole Elementary School, which is JA E-Pole Day. So Jeff, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Superintendent Cabral. Thank you so much, everybody. Great to be here once again. It's an honor to be here once again. Jeff Pelletier, the President and CEO of Junior Achievement of Southern Massachusetts. So when I talk about JA, just high level, really quick contextually, we work on 4 big goals: education, youth development, economic development, and workforce development. And we work on those goals through 3 core content areas, of which we call them financial literacy, career readiness, and entrepreneurship, right? Really critical things that we all know are so important. And what we find is when we build partnerships with the local business community, with other community organizations, with schools, with school districts, that we can bring to young people both in school. We also do this work out of school. So our organization itself, our service area, we're one of the 99 junior achievement chapters in the country. So we serve from Greater Attleboro all the way through the Cape and the Islands. So Greater Attleboro, Greater Taunton, Greater New Bedford, Greater Fall River. So a big catchment area. We serve anywhere between 4,000 to 5,000 young people each year with this work. One thing we're really proud of the work that we do, thanks to our partners and all of our supporters, everything we do for schools and young people is 100% free. So we're able to bring this work to our local schools, to our districts, to our young people without cost, thanks to our partners. And as Superintendent Cabral mentioned, one of our favorite days every year is our JA Day here at EPOL. In our partnership with Taunton Public Schools, as Superintendent Cabral mentioned, with Will, who's a board member of ours, an amazing board member, we've been in front of the school committee several times reporting on our work together. We've been at this work together for a few years now. What we've built is a partnership with Taunton High School, Taunton Alternative High School, and certainly here at EPOL. And so today, we served every single classroom in the school. We had a lot of our core partners here. Bristol County Savings Bank, Santander Bank in particular were 2 of our major supporters today. And then we're thrilled to be joined by a couple of what we call in J, were our high school heroes. So students from Taunton High School, which are going to share their experiences from today as well. And this is really just one item that we are working on this year in partnership with Taunton Public Schools. We had our EPOL Day today. We've already started our JA Company program work at Taunton High School. That's our program where we fund, support with curriculum, with our team, with mentors. We support high school students starting their own businesses, their actual real life businesses. You might have supported them before. We've had some really innovative ideas here in the district. We've got our Titan Business Challenge program where we bring folks to UMass Dartmouth as well for a business competition. We've had winners in the district as well. We give out about $8,000 of scholarships each year. And then a first of its kind new effort for us this year, which we're super excited to have the district involved in, is our Regional Youth Summit at UMass Dartmouth on May 7th. We're bringing together 400 to 500 students, business leaders, thought leaders from all across the region. We're thrilled that Superintendent Cabral is going to be a part of that. It's going to be a speaker, is a thought leader for us there, and really to help gather regional young people and business leaders to think about what's happening now and also what's happening next. And so we have a really exciting agenda in store this year between the partnership between Junior Achievement and Taunton Public Schools, but none of that is possible without this partnership. And so a sincere thank you to each and every one of you. A sincere thank you to Superintendent Cabral, who's just an amazing partner, supporter, who both is there to support us and also on behalf of all the students in the district, always asking us to raise the bar. What can we do next for TPS students, for TPS schools? What can we do that's new? What can we do that's innovative? And so we can't thank Superintendent Cabral enough for this partnership and collaboration. And that goes right down into the schools, the principals that we work with, Principal Jones, Assistant Principal Pimentel today at EPOL, just the best, just amazing to work with, and very much so to Jesse McVale, of which, you know, the best part of my job, right, running a nonprofit, you do all kinds of different things. By far and away, my favorite thing is when you get to work with, right, the educators, the students. That's why you get into this work, is to do that work. And I just can't say enough about Jesse. Is just someone who he has the talent, he has the skill, he has the drive, and just an amazing partner with JA. And so what we're really excited about, in particular with Jesse and a couple of the amazing future leaders that we have here today. So we've already started our work with them on the company program. As part of our EPOL Day here today, where we served the entire school, we incorporated one of our programs called High School Heroes, where we trained up Taunton high school students who we've been working with to actually deliver the curriculum to elementary students here today. And so not only are they already working with us to build their businesses, which we're going to fund them on Friday, so I told them that news before, so they're excited about that, right? They're going to get their funds, but they were actually in classrooms today doing an amazing job bringing their skills, their energy to elementary students here at EPOL. And so from all of us at JA, just a sincere thank you to all of you for being able to collaborate, for being able to partner. We're honored to be community partners with Taunton Public Schools. We truly we appreciate it, and we just want to keep doing more here as well. And so with that, I might ask Jesse if you can come up and just make a few remarks.
Yep. I'd like to bring up Taylor. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, everybody, for being here. Also, congratulations on your campaigns, and welcome to school committee again, and for the first time. So I brought up here a couple of students and shining examples of what we had in class today and what we actually did at EPOL. I'd like to introduce you to Taylor Silvera and Brody Almeida. And my piece is going to be very quick because Jeff did a wonderful job of explaining it. I just wanted to share a little light on the evolution of JA. So I think I started with junior achievement a little bit before COVID and the shutdown. And we just used my classroom. And I would see his associate Edith come in and train up the kids on the company program that we have now, but it was an after-school program. I'd also see a former JA person who retired, Elaine Meredith, who would come in and teach the kids basically what they did today. And so, like everything, always trying to raise the bar, and with the evolutionary nature of this type of education, they put it all into one day, basically, right? And what we did is we've incorporated this into the classroom. So we are always, in marketing, we're looking for a realistic exposure to real work in the community, in our school. We have the Tiger Shack. We have lots of different elements through DECA. But with JA, that gives us one more branch or one more arm to be able to reach more people. And so my Marketing 2 kids, who are primarily juniors, there were a couple seniors in the class, were able to do two things. Number one, the company program, which he explained, they're very excited about it. And number two, what exactly happened today, which we had about 3 to 4 days to train on these company kits. And these guys ripped them apart, broke them apart, really tried to understand the lessons that they had to teach, and not many of them had any teaching experience. So you can imagine the nerves that they might have felt going into classrooms of elementary school kids with seasoned teachers kind of measuring them, that it wasn't the most exciting thing for them to get into right away. But I am so pleased and so proud of the entire team. We brought in 22 students today. Basically my entire class, one was absent. But the way that they rose to the occasion was absolutely stellar, and it was really impressive. And more than that, when you saw the shine in their eyes, just the excitement in their eyes to be able to go impress themselves, I think is what happened today. And I'm just going to turn it over to Taylor and Brody and let them maybe explain a little bit about what they did and what they're doing, and then open it up to any questions. Sound good? Taylor.
Hello, Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me today. I'm very grateful to be here. So my name is Taylor Silvera, and I was one of the high school heroes today at this event. I'm so grateful for the opportunity I had to be here today. I absolutely enjoyed it. I was just so happy and so pleased to be a part of this. I feel like it's very important for the children to learn about business in the way that we were teaching them about the fundamentals of money and how it moves in a society and community, and similar topics about financial literacy. And I believe that that is very important for children to learn, even at a young age. And the opportunity I had, I'm just incredibly grateful for it, and it wouldn't be possible without JA, so I'm very, very glad to have them. And in addition to this, I'm just so thankful that we have JA, because we're doing our own business, and as Mr. Jeff said, it is funded, so we don't have to worry about that part to an extent, because we have the money that they're going to provide for us to start up this business. I am the chief of marketing of the business called God First that we are creating, which is a Christian apparel line. and I am just so excited. I am looking forward to starting this business alongside Brody, Brody Almeida, who will be our CEO of the business. He has done an amazing job overlooking it and overseeing how everybody is doing, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it. And I love the message of community that our brand is going to create. And I love working on the marketing project, and I feel like Taunton is going to be a very big target market here. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brody Almeida. I am a student at Taunton High School, and I was a part of the Junior Achievement at the High School Hero program. And it's a blessing to really be a part of this. Seeing the joy in those kids' eyes and the excitement they had being taught such a complex unit. I mean, it's business, third graders, and yet they got the concept so well, and it was great seeing them be so interactive and so joyful and so happy, and they got all connected with each other throughout these activities that we presented to them. It's a passion for me when it comes to teaching, and it's a really good opportunity for me. They get like a good example, be a good word for this. Yeah. Good role model to these students. It's a good opportunity to have the experience for teaching. And like Taylor's mentioned a lot, I'm very proud to be working on the business. I'm proud of every person that's been working on that business. We've been doing absolutely excellent. I didn't expect it to go anywhere near this far this soon. We have a name, we have the brand idea, we have the image, we have everything set in motion, and it wouldn't be possible without everyone that's been working on the team. And we get to, with the JA project, we really get to bond together. We get to connect throughout this JA. It's a really great, project, and I love being a part of JA. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. If you have any questions, we'd like to hear them.
Thank you, absolutely. Before I open up to the committee, Taylor and Brody, are you part of DECA also?
Yes, so I am part of DECA. I am now second year, I think. Yes, I'm now a second-year member. So last year, I competed in districts, and I made it to states. So I got 6th place, and I got up. So I made it to 5th place in districts, made it to states, and I went to Boston, and I was able to experience that, and that was one of the biggest blessings in my life. I made so many awesome friends. I had so many business opportunities there. I made so many connections. Networking became very big for me, and I learned how to do it and when to do it and the tips for it, and I'm very good at it now, I would say. Not in a selfish way, just in my opinion. And because of that, and because of Mr. McPhail's help, which he's been an incredible role model in my life, he has helped me see the value in DECA, because I feel like a lot of people may assume things about DECA and how it's a business community and, it's just business. But for me, because of his leadership and because of his role model-esque in my life, I've learned that DECA is more than that, and that DECA is actually an amazing club and that everyone should be in it. I've also learned a lot from DECA to help me with JA and to help me build the business alongside Brody.
Excellent.
I am considered a first year at DECA. I wasn't would it be a first year?
Yeah, it'd be first year this year.
Yeah. I was going to join it last year. I never did. I felt like I didn't have the time, any of that. And this year, when I had this amazing teacher right here, he inspired me to really get into that branch. And I think it's great. I love the idea of DECA. I love everything it's for. And I really hope to make it far. And if I don't make it far, I hope to enjoy the moments that I will have in DECA.
Great.
Along with that, she also inspired me a lot, Taylor. She told me about how good DECA is and all of that, and it really inspired me to really join it. And I hope to compete good in finance, really learn a lot more stuff that's important in my life, and connect with who I really am. Thank you.
Well, you know, I asked because I had a feeling that you were both in DECA, because every time our students come before us, especially those that were in DECA that were before us, last month or 2 months ago, they're so articulate. They're not microphone shy. Their thought process is on point, and the energy that's at that microphone is just simply amazing. So this is a great, segue, DECA, JA. I think it's really, really great. So, committee, anybody have any questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Laura.
Just to congratulate you on what you're doing, but it gets easier. Every time you do it over another time, your confidence is built. And this is what it takes, to have yourself ensure that you are secure, that you are comfortable speaking to a mic, speaking to a public, whether it's a student or an adult. Once you know your true confidence, it just comes natural. Congratulations.
Excellent. All righty. Mr. Superintendent Cabral.
Yeah, just a quick comment. So I just want to thank the students for being excellent role models today and for coming to the EPOL Elementary School and giving your time. Giving your time when you could have been in school studying, because I know there's work to be made up. So thank you for giving back to Jesse and to Jeff. Again, thank you for helping to bring our students and to help bring the community here. I mean, we always look for donations, but the greatest gift, the greatest donation is the gift of time. So thank you for bringing the community in and giving back to our kids. It was a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on down, please.
Congratulations, Taylor. You did a wonderful job. Brody, good job. Excellent. Keep it up. Keep it up. Nice to see you again. Thank you so much.
Next time you come through here, you're supposed to go around this way. Would you? Congratulations. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. You see what you've done? Isn't it awesome? I appreciate you guys and all your support.
All righty. All right, next up on the agenda, we have the superintendent's report. Next, MCAS accountability review. Tonight with us, we have Christopher Barata, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction, and Hillary Brushahan, Coordinator of Testing and Research. I'm sorry, Hillary, on the last name. Please. Want to say anything? No.
So as Mr. Barata is making his way to the podium, last month, the State Department of Elementary and Secondary Education released our accountability ratings and our MCAS scores. So Chris and his team, in addition to Hillary, he's also joined by Dalila Mendoza, Danielle Kurt, and Elizabeth Pulowski. They're going to provide you with an overview of our MCAS performance and also our school accountability. And there's also a lot of great news to share regarding one of our elementary schools, which I'm sure Chris will talk about in his presentation, but if not, I'll be sure to highlight it towards the end. So Chris, the floor is yours, and thank you to you and the team for being with us this evening.
Well, thank you very much. It's very difficult to follow outstanding students like that, but let's pull it all together what we're talking about here. I heard joyful, interactive learning experiences. In our realm, we talk about student discourse and progressive or productive struggles of learning. We also heard what they mentioned themselves, third graders understanding difficult concepts, which means if you set the bar high enough, they'll achieve that, and we should always look to the students with the ability to learn at higher levels. So that actually dovetails nicely into our accountability report here we're going to have this evening. First and foremost, I'd like to introduce the team, which consists of intelligent and impactful women in leadership roles. We have with us tonight Dr. Elizabeth Pulowski, our Director of Curriculum for STEM, Pre-K through 12. Danielle Kurt, our Director of Curriculum Humanities, Pre-K through 12. Dalila Mendoza, our Director of Multilingual Learners and Title I. And then Hillary Bresnahan, our Coordinator of Testing and Research. Need a little help with a little clicker. So we pause here for a moment. We always talk about this accountability. It's the annual review. We sometimes call it, like, refer to as an autopsy. But you need to know whether it's our strategic plan, our instructional prioritization, or our school improvement plans, one of which was presented tonight, we're always going to improve. And that's the goal of the district. Regardless of where we are now, we're going to be setting targets for consistently improving our practices and our outcomes. So first, I'd like to start off with something that this board and others at home might have seen on a consistent basis. It's a quick review of what the accountability rating means for a district like Taunton. In fact, 350 some odd districts across the state. What factors into the accountability system along the left-hand side, and I'll break it down a little bit, it consists of two components. One is the normative component, and the other is criterion reference component. I'd like to think in simplistic terms, a normative component means, in essence, Taunton Public Schools against other districts, us versus them. Criterion reference component really is us against ourselves, where we actually, or the state designates targets of improvements for our students themselves to improve within our own confines of our school system. So the normative, it's Taunton Public Schools versus other districts. Criterion reference components is how do our students do amongst themselves within our districts. And of course, number 2 on the upper right-hand quadrant talks about those elements that factor in the accountability rating system, which will go in a little bit more detail in the next slide, but encompasses achievement, student growth, high school completion, English language proficiency, and additional indicators. Primarily those are at the high school level. So next slide. We'll hold here for a second. All right, so accountability rating is broken up to 2 components. Indicators for non-high schools, those are grades 3 through 8, and I'll put a little asterisk or bookmark at that. And then indicators for high schools 9 through 12. Again, our 8th graders are at the high school, and you would say, well, wait a minute, is it measuring apples to apples? But when you look at the actual results of students, whether we position those students in one particular building or another, the data still is the data which owns, so it's valid data. So what I'd like to draw you to the right-hand side, there are components over here that don't apply. Both sides look at ELA composite scaled scores. Both look at the mathematics. What's different at the high school level that they get rated at was the 4-year cohort graduation, meaning when students come in 9th grade, the clock starts ticking. Do they achieve graduation at the end of the 12th year, the 4-year cohort? Extended engagement rate means, do some of those students have to credit recovery and maybe takes 5 years to graduate? So you track those students as well. Those students who come in and complete their graduation requirements within the 4 years, or it takes some students more. Taunton Public Schools, whether it's Dr. Harrison, Carolyn Blenneau, Bert, Robert Delaney, or Isa Rodriguez, wants to make sure all students graduate. So for us, we'd say, ideally, 4 years. But if it takes you 5 or more, we're going to work with you until you achieve that. And that's something that Bert Delaney consistently talks about, re-engaging of students to make sure they reach the graduation requirements. You also have the annual dropout rate. Chronic absenteeism applies to both categories. And the advanced coursework completion rate, which Taunton High School really drilled down to and actually had their accountability rating altered last year because some of the courses could have been coded differently. And when they submitted it to DESE, said, you know, you're absolutely right, you should have had credit for those. So moving forward, Carolyn Blenneau and her teams and guidance with Greg Gay are making sure that they actually categorize coursework that should be credited and then benefits the overall rating for the high school. And this slide goes back to how, again, the school comparisons, that normative component, us versus other schools. Now, the big categorization of schools. This goes to a little bit about what was mentioned during the elementary subcommittee day when Principal Peters gave her school improvement plan of, hey, how much state interaction do we have? This is the continuum of support and recognition that DESE provides every district. On the far left-hand side are those schools of recognition, achieved high achievement rates, made some global changes that really recognize them. Sometimes they call them the blue ribbon schools. All the way to the right-hand side, broad comprehensive supports. You will notice Martin Middle School, substantial progress towards targets. Those targets were set by DESE over the summertime, looking at those students, saying, here's the targets for those students. If you meet or exceed those, it'll move you along this continuum. Martin, which Ms. Bresnahan will highlight that later in the presentation, substantial towards their progress towards those targets, Moderate progress towards those targets were all other TPS schools, meaning Bennett, East Taunton, Galligan, Chamberlain, Friedman, and Parker. Now we move over, and of course you know, Taunton Alternative High School has such few students who take the MCAS or took the MCAS exam. Their cohort of students are so small, their data isn't represented in this. Now, to the right, focused targeted support. I'll pause there a second. This is not like it was previously when we had a statewide system of support. This means one area, potentially one area within those schools needs work, focus. For example, Mulcahy, our students who are white, their performance needs to improve. Pole, our students with disabilities, their performance need to improve. Taunton High School had low participation rate for students with disabilities, which means 95% of those students who have IEPs, we didn't hit that benchmark. Perhaps their attendance was lower. So it's almost a factor of attendance and participation. Of course, we always want to improve our performance of our students with special needs, but this is actually sitting down for the test and submitting a test. Taunton Public Virtual Academy, low participation, all students. And again, this is why we should be credited as a district of really diving into the data. And I know that sometimes people's eyes glaze over a little bit, but looking deeper at Taunton Public Virtual Academy, 25 out of 27 students tested for ELA. That means 93% of those students, they needed to be 95. So it's not some huge global number, right? That's 2 students affected that. 24 out of 26 tested for mathematics. So when you look about participation, that in some regards is low-hanging fruit. Of course, we want all of our students to excel academics. The first thing is, are you here for the tests themselves? Those are easily achievable tasks because 2 years ago, Taunton High School was recognized for low participation rate for the Hispanic population, and they turned it around in 1 year, realizing the improvement of attendance, where were students making sure they're in taking the test. So we look at that as, in some regard, low-hanging fruit that we could definitely take care of that. So what does that mean? We're going to have a light-handed approach collaboration with DESE. It's actually not with the statewide system of support offices anymore. It's with the Office of Effective Partnerships and Impact. We already had one meeting with our team and the superintendent last week. We have another one scheduled this week, and they're actually asking us from before was, hey, here's the supports we highly suggest you take part in. And when the state says highly suggest, it basically says you're going to do that. Here it says, you've done a lot of data dives, you've presented it. What do you think? How can we help you move the needle? And those are the beginning conversations that we're having, which will come out of today's presentation and ongoing of what type of support are we going to access with DESE. And a quick look here of our student demographics. I'd like to point to a few things about the differences between the state and Taunton Public Schools. Taunton Public Schools, our Black or African American students are 16.2% higher than the state's average. Our multi-race is 1.5% higher than states. Our white student population is on par with the states. Our low-income students, 16.5% higher than the state. And our students with disabilities, 0.8% higher than the state. So there are some differences between us that distinguishes us as an urban district. We're up for the challenges because obviously with those students come whether or not they're ready for school. And again, this school committee here put the financial investment in full-day pre-K. And the sooner we have those students in our building, get them acclimated to school readiness and working with our content and our teachers, we'll make that impact on our results. So now I'd like to call up Hillary Bresnahan to provide the committee overall view of data highlights and moving forward some specific data points. Hillary?
Thank you. So before we move into some specific MCAS data to share with you, we wanted to start off with some data highlights and some celebrations in the data. As Chris mentioned, we started off with 4 schools several years ago that were in the bottom 10th percentile when they were compared to other schools in Massachusetts. As of this year, we have 0 schools. And that is really efforts that are coordinated support for those schools, as well as the efforts of the educators and the building principals in each of those schools. I will get more into this later in the presentation, but we're also excited to see achievement that is at or above pre-pandemic levels in some of our grades, some of our content areas, and student groups across the district. We also this year saw an increase in ELA achievement by 3 percentile points and math by 2, which we'll highlight as well. And this past year, we've seen an increase in student growth, seeing student growth meeting typical growth targets across the district. These targets are set by DESE, highlighting low growth, typical growth, or high growth for grade levels and student groups. And we're encouraged by the growth students made in both content areas on the MCAS, and also seeing that on our own district student assessments as well.
Hello, everyone. So in the last bullet, English learners, which is awesome, demonstrated the highest growth in all subgroups in the city. And I just wanted to bring it back to my presentation from last year. Some of the things that we've put in place where we're now seeing that growth. So we have the same content resources in our Newcomer Academy, in our English language development courses as the general setting. That's a huge turnaround. I feel as though that has made a huge impact in student growth. And also in our iReady data, we saw last year the amazing growth that English learners had. So, and it's often, iReady is often compared to MCAS results as well. So now this is a great comparison showing that iReady really is an indicator of how the students will do. And some of the things, too, is just to keep in mind, the retention of our teachers in our department is absolutely excellent. No one leaves unless they're retiring, which is awesome. And also, just thinking of our students and seeing this growth, they are learning language along with content. They're not a world language student where you're just learning the language. They have to learn all these content areas while learning the language, and they are the highest growth. So I am just so impressed by them and what they've achieved.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to showcase some of our ELA data that we're very proud of. Our coaches, teachers, and students are working incredibly hard each and every day, and the data is beginning to show that. As you can see, there's an upward trend in all of our data in all student groups. We can correlate that to our intentional planning, which is rooted in our high-quality curriculum. As you may know, our curriculum in kindergarten through 5th grade is Wonders, and 6th grade through 12th grade is StudySync. Thanks to your contributions, we were able to update our StudySync platform this year, so I'd give a shout out to our 6th through 12th grade teachers that have been working extra hard to learn the updated curriculum as well as instructing our students every single day. As you can see with our student groups, we're all in that upward trajectory, but obviously there are some achievement gaps, and we are working on those achievement gaps each and every day. As I had mentioned, we're continuing to do intentional lesson plans which elevate potential misconceptions. As you know, we have common writing prompts from grades 2 through 8. And with those writing prompts, we have common graphical organizers and language, which will allow all of our students to have equitable scope and sequence for all our students so that they're all learning the same things at the same time using a common language. Our common writing assessments are also being tracked on Open Architect, which allows us to be able to pull student groups in order to provide targeted interventions for our specific student groups in order to best meet their needs. Additionally, we've been working with our grade level teams at each of our schools, and we're really looking at student work to figure out how exactly we need to meet each student's specific needs in order to raise not only their MCAS scores, but also their literacy skills. again, you can see that we are projected to go in the correct direction. We're very happy about that. As we look at our student groups, we want to think about different cultures, different races. We want to make sure we're selecting literature that is culturally responsive so that students can see themselves in the literature as well as others. Additionally, you may be aware that we need to continue to strengthen our foundational reading skills in our students, so we were awarded a grant that allowed us to provide Ignite reading tutoring to our students in first grade in order to start building some of those, filling in some of those gaps with our youngest students, especially with phonemic awareness. And just yesterday, we offered PD to our staff, talking about progress monitoring and reteaching opportunities to continue to really target interventions for our students, meeting them where they are so that they continue to close those achievement gaps. Again, although the data is trending in an upward direction, our work is not done. We're continued to be committed to our systems and structures in order to continue to raise our student achievement. At this time, I'd like to welcome Dr. Pawlowski, who will review our STEM data.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here, and congratulations to everyone on being re-elected. There we go. So we're starting here with math, grades 3 through 8. Again, we are moving in the correct direction. However, this isn't the type of data that really helps educators and coaches and myself understand what's happening. It does show a glaring disparity in our English language learners and our students with disabilities from the all student category, and that has helped us really create systems and develop plans to support students, our English language learners and our students with disabilities. Currently in mathematics, we are breaking down the curriculum so that students are getting exactly what they need to achieve at that particular level. We are also, yesterday, we had some professional learning to support an addition to our curriculum, which is illustrative mathematics, to help teachers really target specific interventions within the classroom and in the pull-out setting. This professional learning will continue throughout the year. But each of these dots represent students across 3 schools with hundreds and hundreds of different standards that are kind of related and skills that do build upon each other. So the story isn't here. So when we look at the data at each school, at each grade level, we can see that there are specific subjects, specific things that we have to really cover. One of them, for instance, is fractions. Our students in 4th grade, which are in 5th grade now as part of this data, are students that were in kindergarten during COVID. I know we're not supposed to talk about it, but this is going to be an ongoing cascade over their career, where they did not touch anything for 2 years of their learning. And that we have found, has severely impacted their understanding of fractions because they didn't play with things to learn it. So we are remediating hard at this point with these students and with the educators who many of them are new educators who for the first time encountered students who were learning, who had this little deficit. So we're working really hard with teachers in 3 different professional learning throughout the year. Right now, we have teachers in middle school and in elementary coming after school to learn about just conceptual fractions. And then we also have a during the day series that's starting in 2 weeks with an outside partner, Sue Looney, to help teachers plan specifically for Fraction Fridays so we can catch these students up and help these teachers really give targeted interventions. And here we can see that although our curriculum is known to be a welcoming curriculum, we do still have some work to do to ensure that all of our students feel welcome in mathematics classes and feel like mathematicians. In science, we are moving in the right direction, but with our students with disabilities specifically, I'm working with the Department of Education, DESE, in a program to ensure that we are using universal design strategies in all science classes. We'll be offering professional learning in the spring, myself along with members of the special ed department, to help all teachers, but specifically special educators, really understand how you can take these science concepts and make them really accessible. And actually, when you look at the standard, what is it that students need to know how to do? And really build that up in the classroom. So I'm really excited about that work upcoming. And there is growth with our multilingual learners because students are learning this with the same curriculum as their classmates. And the thing that's difficult here to look at as well is that we are looking at 2 snapshots. We're looking at 5th grade on a test that is assessing 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. And we're looking at 8th grade at a test that's assessing 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So we're looking at experiences of students across schools and from different educators. So, and if you look over at 2019, that was the first year actually that we had students having consistent curriculum from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I remember that. Then we, of course, we introduced Open SciEd. We had COVID. There's this like kind of wiggle here happening. But I feel it's been really difficult because although the state has supported us and given us funding to implement this curriculum, and this curriculum is matched to our vision for innovators and excited, curious students who are going to solve the problems of the future that we can't even imagine. The Massachusetts State Assessment is exactly the same as it was in 2005. The questions look like questions that were in my first few years teaching. So so we're sitting at this weird crossroad of, do we go back to the old way and have students regurgitate facts back to us? Or do we continue to build their curious minds and support their ability to look at the world differently and solve problems? Fortunately, I do work with the MCAS, the people who develop it, and they have assured us that over the next 2 years, the MCAS will change to support this new type of learning, but it is, when you see such great work in the classrooms and hard work from the educators and instructional coaches to support this type of planning to get students to perform this data, I'm just waiting for this test to change so the data can show all the hard work we're doing. And again, this is the data by subgroup, and we do have some work to do.
All right, so as we get into the next set of data and start to look at our high school data as well, I want to just call out a few specific trends. So while we are tracking our district data carefully, both MCAS and our district assessments, we're also paying close attention to state trends. And there's 3 trends that the state has really called out this year specifically. One, looking at identifying schools that are back to pre-pandemic achievement levels. 2 is highlighting the continued need to support student attendance. And 3 is the high school MCAS achievement. Across the state, across all content areas, grade 10 MCAS results noticeably dropped this year. And this may be a reflection of the impact and changes in the recent graduation requirements. And as we look at Taunton, we see similar results. So this graph shows performance of our grade 10 students in ELA in the blue, math in the orange, science in the green. You can see that we're seeing an increase in student achievement prior to that change in 2025, but in 2025, yes, our results dropped considerably, similar to state trends. I'm going to move next to attendance. This chart here, we're continuing to monitor and support improved attendance across the district. And looking at last year's MCAS results across all grade levels, we saw a strong correlation between student achievement and attendance results. So in these charts, ELA is on the left, math is on the right. Each of those dots represents an individual student who took the MCAS last year. So students in red, each of those red dots represent a student who achieved and not meeting expectations on the MCAS. Those in blue and dark blue represent students that achieved a meeting or exceeding level on the MCAS. When we look at this, we see that students who had fewer absences performed 20 points higher on the ELA MCAS compared to students that were chronically absent. And in math, the difference was 14 points higher. Students that are chronically absent are shown on the bottom bars at 18 plus. So I show this to highlight the work that we're doing, not just in supporting students in mastering standards, but also in supporting students to be in school. We know those attendance patterns begin early. They begin in kindergarten. And our educators are working closely across all grade levels and partnering with families to support strong attendance. So that third pattern that I noted was looking at pre-pandemic achievement. This is one that the state has really called out, and they have set targets for schools for achievement based on either these two metrics, recovery path or path forward. So schools that are identified as recovery path means that you are still working toward pre-pandemic levels. You're not quite up to that achievement level that you saw in 2019. Versus schools that are in a path forward targets have achieved their 2019 achievement levels and are meeting or exceeding that level. As we're beginning to wrap up our presentation for MCAS and accountability, I want to highlight that we are seeing some of our schools moving toward that path forward. We are seeing instances of grade levels, content areas, or student groups where our students are meeting or exceeding our pre-pandemic levels. Example here shows Martin Middle School. So while the grade 7 is still in that kind of recovery path, they are approaching that 2019 achievement level. Their grade 5th and 6th grade students are exceeding their pre-pandemic levels. As a team, we're continuing to identify where instructional systems and structures are having that desired impact, and for which students, and building on that moving forward.
So this slide here is how we're going to respond to this data. And it really comes down to what are we doing with it? Are we looking at it? We've implemented structures and systems in place to monitor our student progress throughout the year, as evidenced by Danielle Kurt talking about the lesson internalization and intentional planning. What Dr. Pulowski mentioned of looking at the data, we suspected early on through the use of some of our formative assessments, iReady and such that Dalila Mendoza talked about, that fractions was an issue. I know prior to this meeting, maybe a couple back, during a school improvement plan, Dr. DeMello mentioned or questioned, what are we doing about math? Because the principal in the school improvement plan said we're focusing on that. Dr. Pulowski, with the assistance of some teachers in the district, right, because we learn best from each other, are running this term time series where teachers are working on how best to instruct our students in fractions. So we're responding to the challenges in real time because we've developed these systems and supports in place that regardless of what happens, right, our most two natural resources in the district we want to protect is our students and our staff. Because the students will keep coming through, but it's the teachers, regardless of what products we have, it's the practices that are really going to make a difference. And this team and the teams within the buildings, our building administrators, our instructional coaches at the K-7 level, our curriculum supervisors at the 8 through 12, and our most important group, the student-facing educators and support staff that touch those students each and every day with the content and responding to their needs, is what really is going to make a difference. So how do we at the district level make sure that we're providing the tools necessary and removing barriers? By making sure our reading specialists and high-dosage tutoring programs are in place. You have Ignite and Amira is being, Ignite is a live or asynchronous tutor. It's a live tutoring via the internet, where we have, I think, 262 licenses now that Danielle Kurt applied for a grant, and we have that in the district, where students log in with an individual tutor every day to have their phonics or their basic skills reinforced. Data is going to be collected. Our teachers are going to review that. Amira is being piloted at Mulcahy. It's in its second year. Last year got a little funky. It's actually tutoring through an avatar. Last year it got impacted because of the network issues. So our collection of data on that was incomplete. And as a result, that's why we wanted to continue it again this year to collect data to see what's going to be most impactful of those. So that is taking place, and of course the small group for interventions. Teachers are engaging in target professional development. We just mentioned that, for example, the fractions, the use of iReady data, which is a great indicator of success of whether or not you'll perform an MCAS or where you would be, but it also allows the educator the ability to assign specific targeted work to remediate those weaknesses so that when the student shows up in the class time, they don't feel behind, they actually can catch up. You have instructional coaches and our curriculum supervisors that we heard this morning, great work with collaborating with the teachers in lesson and unit planning, collegial visits, and data-based interventions. That's K-12 going on. Continuous work with that group, which wasn't existent prior to Superintendent Cabral's ascension to superintendency. That wasn't there, which means the teachers weren't being guided properly. We weren't tracking data. We weren't putting implementation of strategies in place and progress monitoring. So we've got all that taking place. Our schools are improving communication of student progress with families through family assessment reports, redevelopment of the elementary report cards. Two things, part of our strategic plan, because everything is our guiding document. One of those components is the improvement of communication, not only within buildings, but outward to families. That most important part, the redevelopment of our elementary report cards, I think our elementary curriculum subcommittee heard about that. Yesterday's process was by grade level, teachers examining standards first, and the first draft of what our new report card may look like is underway. So we're responding to needs in real time, taking feedback from our educators themselves on what makes the most sense, because they touch it consistently on a day-to-day basis. And of course, the district's engaging with many partners, Lynch Academy, which is the high school component, and then the new teacher project, which is TNTP at the pre-K through 7 level. And it's always great to have an outside perspective, and we're taking advantage of that both at the high school and at the earlier grade levels. And now I'd like to have, if the group would like, to go through the additional slides, Superintendent, if that's.
I know we've had this packet at our home since last Friday, so I'm sure we've gone through them, but we'll open it up to the committee, absolutely. Go through 'em? Okay.
I would like to see it presented.
Yeah,
if it's
sure,
okay with you.
absolutely.
All right, so Danielle and Elizabeth walked you through our ELA and STEM data. This is a little bit more of a breakdown of looking at our district trends, state trends, and then urban superintendent's network trends. Just looking at last year's data, 2025, compared to the year prior, and then pre-pandemic 2019 data. So you can see here the percent of students that are meeting or exceeding expectations in grades 3 through 8 and grade 10. And then the changes over the years. Last year, we saw a 3-point increase in our ELA achievement, similar to the state trends. Grade 10, as I mentioned, we saw a dip, as did the state and our urban superintendent's network. And the same data broken down by those student groups that we identified. And for grade 10, this breaks it down a little bit further. You can see the percent of students that are not meeting, partially meeting, and exceeding expectations for last year for each of the student groups. And then here's our similar math data, Taunton Public Schools compared to the state and the urban superintendent's network. We did see a 2-point increase, which is a statistically significant increase in meeting and exceeding expectations, a little bit higher than our state and our urban superintendent's network. And we also saw that drop in grade 10. And then you have the same results broken down a little bit further by student group for grades 3 through 8 and grade 10. And then these are our student growth reports. And this is where I noted earlier that we were falling within that typical range for student growth, which is where we want to be. It's about, it shows that students are making similar growth to their peers across the state. Growth is not measured in grade 3 because it's the first time students take the MCAS. So So you can see that our growth in ELA and math was in the 40s and 50s ranges for all grade levels, including grade 10. The state target is always at 50. And then you can see the comparison for the Urban Superintendent's Network. And our growth was actually higher than our 2019. We were falling in the low to typical growth range in 2019, and we have seen higher growth in recent years. And then here's our science achievement results. We don't have science growth data because students only take it 3 times throughout their student careers. We saw a very small change in grade 5 compared to previous cohorts, and then a drop in grades 8 and 10 last year. And then last year was the first year that our 8th graders took the civics exam. So we don't have any prior data here, but you can see that our Taunton Public Schools, our 8th graders, 30% of them met or exceeded expectations on the civics MCAS, compared to 39% across the state and 22% for the Urban Superintendent's Network. Any questions?
Open up to the committee for questions or comments. Mr. Pawlowski?
Thank you, Dr. DeMello. Chris, Hillary, Dr. Pawlowski, Dalila, Danielle, thank you so much for the presentation. There was something that Hillary pointed out I thought was really important. You spoke about like the trend between attendance and achievement, and being able to sit on the elementary subcommittee and seeing all the school improvement plans. There's a really strong focus of all of our elementary principals on that, and really speaking about how it builds into middle school and high school. So it's really great that you guys are working on that. And then one other thing, if I could go back to something that Dr. Pawlowski was speaking about. So I was lucky enough to attend the MSELA conference with Dr. Pawlowski a couple of weeks ago. And although I was there to see her get inducted into the Mass Educators Hall of Fame, I was paying attention to what they were talking about there. And the 2 ladies sitting at our table, they actually worked at DESE, and they were presenting on, you know, what they're doing with that test. And they straight up, the whole classroom full of science educators told them, stay the course, keep teaching the way you're teaching, because eventually the test will catch up to them. So it's 2 years. Yeah, they told us that it takes like 5 to 6 years for a question that they're working on to get onto the test. So it's how long it takes for that. But like, you know, all these different ways that we're teaching the kids, and it's tough to look at the data and see the data go down, but it's because the test can't keep up with everything. So I thought that was really, really important. So thank you all for sharing.
Thank you. Mr. Laura?
Just a quick question, if I may. Dr. Pawlowski, you indicated that MCAS, their adaptation, their changes are making it easier for the diverse population throughout the Commonwealth. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, 100%. Rather than just having students recall facts. In science, Dalila once said, all learners are are language learners, and particularly in science, it's so vocabulary rich that it's difficult for students to recall or even understand the question. The new questions tell stories, and they help the students look at data. They use simulations, and they're able to connect science concepts and really make sense of something interesting. And you don't really need to speak English proficiently. You don't really have to have a strong understanding of specific topics. You just have to know how to think. And so the new test, and I've seen the questions, it really does test your thinking. It's actually hard for adults because we just want to answer the questions. And the kids are really more willing to tinker with the simulations. But yes, I believe in my heart more students will be more successful, all students.
That's good to know. And that information be assimilated to the students, puts them more at ease knowing that it's going to get easier. Just keep with it, and it's only going to get easier down the road.
Yeah, we are talking about that. We have purchased applications that students can use that have tests, that have questions that are sort of like that, where the students are presented with a story and then they use a simulation like, let's put these different plants in different types of water or maybe different types of light, and the students will like play with the toggles and they'll come to a conclusion and answer questions. That's a very simplistic third grade one, but we have them all the way up to 10th grade, where students will use that program to try to practice that type of skill. And they're very good at it.
It's good to hear that. Thank you.
No problem, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mrs. Shavs.
Thank you, Dr. DeMello. Thank you, everybody, for your presentations, right up my alley. Question on what Martin Middle is doing differently. I mean, they've made incredible strides, so there has to be something going on special there that we could try to replicate in other schools?
Yes. They have, the front office has incredible systems in place to ensure that learning is happening and students are ready to learn at all times. If you walk through the hallways there, I'm not going to use the word control because I don't like that word, but it feels calm. So that is a kudos to Mrs. Pereira and her team to really have that school feeling safe. Secondly, the instructional coach, Mrs. Fernando, has really committed to supporting her teachers in intentional lesson planning and looking at student work and really digging into the curriculum that we have purchased for teachers. And she is like a dog with a bone. She is really has learned so much about that, and she won't let it go. And she's broken it down for teachers in such a way that, and then connected what they're doing to their iReady, and then connected it to MCAS for them. So they have everything in their hands to accelerate learning. So it's the teaming structures as in those meetings have been, it's amazing to watch.
Well, I'd like to see that replicated in other schools.
We're working on it.
On all of you have talked about attendance. So is the attendance better at Martin compared to other schools?
Yeah, it's, so not to downplay what Martin's doing, because it's amazing. There are amazing instructional practices happening there that Elizabeth mentioned. I could pull up any of our schools and show similar data. So Mulcahy is back at pre-pandemic levels. English learners, we are seeing huge growth in our English learner population. So I shared Martin because I thought this is a great example, and I wanted to celebrate the work they're doing. But each of our schools, we are seeing pockets of success, high achievement or high growth for different students and different groups. And so what we're trying to do is, identify those, as you're saying, and then kind of grow those experiences so that we're seeing it across all grades, all student groups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other question I have is looking at English 3 to 8, mathematics 3 to 8. We're obviously having gotten to the pandemic numbers that's there. I know that we've gotten new curriculum. Melissa and I serve on the curriculum subcommittee. I know math happened during that time. What about science and English? Were those new during that time also?
Math began right at the pandemic,
Right.
and Open SciEd was right before. So teachers, the professional learning they received was all online, and the students were learning online as well. Additionally, there's quite a bit of turnover at those, like in 8th grade specifically last year. There was a teacher out sick for the entire year, and there was a sub in for the year. So there are factors like that really do impact student learning.
Well, just so that we're pointing out the fact that we had a pandemic, and we've got to switch in how we're teaching, because the curriculum, not only is the curriculum is changed in so much that it isn't the actual curriculum that's different, it's how we're teaching the curriculum that is different. So that's been a shift that has happened during that same time. And obviously, if you're saying that it's going across the state, because if the state is paying for a lot of this curriculum, other districts are using a similar type of curriculum, which goes back to what you said, Liz, about the tests not catching up. Because I know mathematically, the MCAS test, going to Delila's point, it changed from a very concept mathematical number type of test to you have to read a lot of information. And so if you're an English language learner, you could have been a fabulous math student, but now you're struggling because you can't read it. And that affects you in science, and obviously affects you in English that is there. So, I am concerned that the test hasn't caught up, because I'm not a lover of the current version of the test. obviously with my experience, I've seen it across the board, and it actually isn't I don't think it tests well what we're teaching our kids. So I like what Nathan said about it. Hopefully it will catch up. One last question I have. Now that the MCAS does not connect to graduation, do you honestly think that the 10th graders are going to take it seriously enough, because their scores are going to impact us?
Well, that was a comment I was gonna save for the end, but we had the pleasure of attending a urban superintendent meeting that was focused on urban schools, that Rob Curtin from the state, who oversees all the assessment and testing. If I was gonna take out my crystal ball, you're gonna see that in 3rd and 4th grade, 5th, 6th, and 7th, you're gonna see a trajectory of improvement. But I do believe at 8th and 10th grade, because the test doesn't count, you're gonna see similar results to what we saw today. Simply, it still matters, or it's still, I shouldn't say matters, it's still important to the elementary school kids and the middle school kids. But at the high school level, with the recent vote, Bill, question 2, I think you're gonna see a continuance of what we saw this year. And what we need to keep in mind is that this still counts towards school
That's my
accountability.
concern.
Right,
Yeah,
so that's the
my
concern that
concern.
I have at the high school level, that we might be seeing some great work and seeing the high school move in the right direction, but the high school may find itself in the bottom 10% if it continues, if the scores continue to trend this way.
Did we have a high absenteeism for the high school when taking the test?
So 2 things. No, remember that one subgroup,
Yeah.
special needs, students with special needs had low participation rates, so that would have been the attendance for that component. But overall, the attendance was good. That
Just
category of students was that. To follow up on your other question, our Wonders and Study Sync, our ELA curriculum, was purchased between 6 and 18 months prior to COVID. So when you look at the high school, middle school, and high school, probably had a better chance of adapting the curriculum, whereas Wonders at the early grades, teachers were not able to dive into the materials, so you have all those students trying to learn that stuff. And Superintendent is correct. You look at no valid test to measure science growth. So our learning is going on in grade 10, whether or not students take it, they may take it maybe not as seriously as that, but it still determines the health of our district. And that's why we have to internally look, and we have to keep the eye on the ball and saying, what are we going to measure internally, whether it's iReady or formative assessments, to say we're moving along that path, because we're going to be victim of that, whatever labeling it is. So that's why those systems of support that we have built up in the district is going to really matter in our progress monitoring, because we're now at the hands of waiting for DESI to come up with a science test.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. I saw Mrs. Fagan's hand first, please.
I'm also on the curriculum subcommittee, and I've had concerns about the way we're teaching some of this, because it seems a lot of times kids figure out things in all kinds of different ways, and sometimes I think we could give a better foundation. You can't build a house without a good foundation. And, even like math facts, I think those are important. There's kids that don't know, you say they're doing well, but when you go to a store and they can't make change, it kind of freaks me out. So I think we have to do a little bit more work on some of the stuff we're doing, but I don't think it's simply a matter of saying, well, it doesn't count anymore, so they don't care. Maybe they really don't understand it, too. You can also look at it that way. You just can't say, they don't have to take the test, so it's not gonna count, so they don't care. I would hate to think that. I think they'd be more interested that some of them would wanna learn a little bit more. I mean, I know I read things and I go off into 20 different directions to find answers to things. I wish some kids would do a little bit more of that, and I think they might be a little bit better off. Just my opinion. Thank you.
Education is one of those fields where there's no direct answer. If taking things, so I know at the state level, statistically significant difference in the number of zeros and off-topic responses for the 10th grade exam. And off-topic could be, I'm asking a question about apples, but somebody wrote about oranges. Or what they also evidence is some students gave their opinion on MCAS in some very colorful language. So when you see that at the state level, which is a huge amount, which means students sat for it and might have done one other portion, and then we saw some of that here, and we can only attest to whether it was zeros. We don't know if it was off topic, and although we could look at some of the responses, but we also saw an uptick of that. So I don't believe every student just said, give up on it, but there was enough shifting of importance, and maybe perhaps on the part of students, that might have moved our ratings down that way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Fagan. Ms. Santos?
Thank you, Dr. DeCarlo. I don't really have a question, just comments, but thank you all for your presentations, and this kind of really speaks to what Donna said about what Nathan said about what Dr. Pulowski said. I think everybody here knows I'm not a fan of standardized tests at all. I don't think that they do a very good job of gauging a person's or child's intelligence. I think what you said is a perfect example of that, right? That you're doing all of this wonderful things in the classroom, but the test is engaging them on that. So it's really setting up students to fail, especially if we're looking at them, as you said, as these accountability numbers. It's really not fair to the students at all, you know, and just even, I mean, I think it's great that the English language learners are doing great, but I mean, I think part of one of the reasons why the Yes on 2 passed was also because students based on demographics don't test as well as other students, and so this is kind of goes to what Mrs. Peters talked about when in our subcommittee meeting earlier today about there's students that just don't see diversity in the content as well too. So I mean, if there's no diversity in the test either, that's going to impact the diverse amount of students that we have. As you've seen, we have a very diverse body of students. But to the other fact, to what Danielle had talked about, because Mrs. Peters came and talked about this issue of literacy, and you're talking K through 2, that this is an issue already. So I mean, the issue of literacy, and I don't think it's a pandemic thing. I think it's a huge, there's a much bigger problem, 100%. And as I was saying to Mrs. Peters, and Nathan was there and Louis was there, I teach at college and I see the issue, literacy issue, 100%. Getting students to critically read is like, I can't even tell you, you guys know, you know? So it's just, so I think it's a societal thing, to be honest with you. So I think thinking creatively about the way that we can, about thinking outside of the box, not necessarily thinking about what the MCAS is telling us what it's supposed to look like, right? That it can look different than what no offense to DESIC, but what they say it's supposed to look like. So, but thank you for all your hard work. I know how difficult it all is, so I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Superintendent, want to close it out?
Yep, I'd be happy to. So one, I want to first recognize the members of the committee. When we started 7 years ago, it was Mr. Barata leading this work with people who also were teaching at the time or had other responsibilities. So I want to appreciate and really thank the committee for putting the support and the financial support to create a curriculum instructional team. And I believe the first hire on that team was Dr. Pulowski as our STEM director. Mrs. Mendoza had been working on that team, and then we brought Hillary and Danielle over. So we now have an instructional leadership team to lead this work in Taunton Public Schools. So thank you for your fiscal support. I also just want to mention too, I think we're going to continue to see improvement. Last year we set a very lofty attendance goal of 93.5% and a chronic absenteeism goal of 19.5%. And we're also entering into 3 to 4 years of consistent instruction, steady staffing. So having consistency in the instruction, in the delivery of instruction, and the staff delivering it, I do believe that we're going to continue trending in the right direction. And I do hope when the next assessment, or as the assessment evolves, I do hope that the state looks at alternative ways to measure student assessment, students who fail the MCAS, whether it's through a portfolio or whether it's through another modality to demonstrate their learning, because as somebody who's not a very good test taker, I completely get it, but I do believe that kids can demonstrate what they know in different ways, and I do believe there are assessments that can capture that and really demonstrate what all our learners know. That's why I'm super excited about AI and how it's going to impact the world of education when it comes to really demonstrating with students who cannot articulate their thoughts, students who struggle to put their thoughts on paper. By having these new tools to support students, we're really entering a fun time in education. So, outstanding presentation, and I appreciate all of your hard work, team.
Great. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great night. Next up, we have administrative business. First item, staffing report, see enclosure. Wish of the committee.
Receive and place on file.
Second on that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Next up, Taunton Public Schools staffing update, see enclosure.
Just real quick, you'll notice that we are 99% staffed. All our district positions will be filled because we have 2 pending. We have 1 vacancy at Martin Middle School and 2 at Taunton High School. So I'm very, very proud of the work of our hiring managers and the work that's being done in the Human Resource Department.
Received and placed on file.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, ayes have it. Taunton Public Schools enrollment update.
So I just wanted to provide you with the numbers that were certified through the October 1 report. So we reported 8,256 students to the state, so these are the numbers that will be utilized when we start looking at our Chapter 70 numbers. And again, on the foundation, the Chapter Foundation report, it's not going to appear 8256 because some of these students, especially in the pre-K, they only count as part-timers, they only count as a half. So these numbers will change when we look at our foundation budget, but these are the current enrollment of students in our school, and we'll provide you with a monthly update for the rest of the year.
Received and placed on file.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, ayes have it. Follow-up on question regarding federal special education office reductions.
Yeah, this was just in response to a question I believe Ms. Santos brought at the last meeting. So you see, I reached out to Secretary of Education Tutwiler and MASS Executive Director Mary Burke, and this is the information they shared with me.
Same procedure.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Next up, we have field trip requests. First one is Skills USA, see enclosure. On this one, we're looking at an overnight trip going to Marlborough, Massachusetts, happening on the 23rd of November, overnight returning on the 24th. It seems like all the i's have been dotted, all the t's have been crossed. And this is this a couple weeks from now? Yeah, okay, great. Wishes of the committee.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. And the second field trip request is Martin Middle School to New York City. On that one's next year, I believe. Let me just open that up. Give me a second. Yeah, May 9th of 2026, a day trip to New York City, one of my favorite cities in the world. Visiting Central Park, points of interest including the zoo, as well as the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And, yeah, it's a long day, Mrs. Fagan, that's right, yeah. But the zoo and the Metropolitan Museum of Art, that's a lot to do in one day. But anyway, good luck to them. I think we should bring this back for a 90-day review as we usually do, so what are the wishes of the committee?
So moved.
Second.
With a 90-day review?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. And the next item, we have the South Coast Education Collaborative Quality Report. Superintendent.
Again, I serve as a board member representing the Taunton Public Schools, as we have students who attend South Coast Educational Collaborative. So this is just for your information.
Excellent.
Same procedure. Place on file. Received and placed on file.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. And now we're going to subcommittee reports. Am I skipping something? No. Subcommittee reports. First one is the Curriculum Subcommittee, chaired by Ms. Santos. You're welcome.
The Curriculum and Instruction Subcommittee met on Thursday, October 16th. The meeting was called to order at 4:30. No, I think that was wrong. I think that's 4:03, I think. Dyslexia sometimes. Attendance is Dr. John Harrison, Ms. Carolyn Umbreau, Principal of Martin Middle School, Jamie Pereira, Principal of Mulcahy Elementary School, Katie DeCuda, Christopher Barada, Superintendent John Cabral, Donna Shaves, and Christine Fagan. The meeting was convened to learn more about and discuss the Taunton Public Schools grading and artificial intelligence policies. This was a very informative and robust meeting. As I say often, it was really difficult to get all of the information because it was a lot of conversations going on. So I just wanted to highlight some important points that came out of that. There were general consensus that consistency of rubrics and grading assessments is of utmost importance across the district and school systems, including elementary and middle school. There was also an emphasis on the continued need to calibrate student work so that all educators remain consistent in how work is assessed. In regards to the high school, Superintendent Cabral noted that the Bristol County schools use the same curriculum, which assists students that may move between districts. There is also a consistency in how homework how much homework students are given and how that impacts their grades. It was clear through all of those in the meeting that there is a concerted effort not to overload any students and therefore parents with assignments at home. Example, no more than an hour in middle school and a half hour for elementary. In high school, more than 10% of the grade can be based on homework. The importance of communication with parents was also discussed. Students' assessments are available. School Brains is different than Parent Portal? Same thing, okay. I put it as two separate things, but I wasn't quite sure. But it was discussed how important it is to have consistent communication with parents so that they all have a better understanding of what these assessments mean. And as mentioned, the elementary school is going through a whole new grading system, so that was discussed as well too. Because of how detailed the conversations were in regard to grading, we did not focus much time on AI policies. However, Superintendent Cabral provided the subcommittee with a handout laying out guidelines for ethical use of AI in the classroom. The packet included policies of other Mass districts. He also discussed meetings he had with other consultants, Greg Kolowek, and Jeff Riley, who cautioned against creating a policy at this point since AI use and impact is constantly changing. One additional point that was made regarding all the policies discussed, and that was to focus, this was from Chris Barata, to focus on developing the craft of teaching to current and future educators, which is also something that came up in the curriculum subcommittee we had, well, the elementary ed one that we had this afternoon. The hope is to continue this conversation, and I will be reaching out to the subcommittee for additional meeting dates so that we can learn more about these important policies and impacts on our students. This is also important so we can further discuss the Edward analytics. So Dr. Harrison actually provided us with a very big packet of analytics as far as whether they go on to post-secondary school, but they actually emailed us, and I think you all received it after the meeting, about actually retention in higher ed as well too. So we didn't have really a lot of time to discuss all of that, so the hope is to continue that conversation, and the meeting concluded at 5:06, and that concludes my report.
Thank you.
Motion to accept the report.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next up, we have special programs and projects. Chairman Shavs.
Dr. DeMello. The Special Programs Subcommittee convened on Monday, October 27th at 5 p.m. Attendees were myself, Louis Laurel, Superintendent John Cabral, Assistant Superintendent Brenda Monahan, Jennifer Ashley, the Director of Technology, and Cynthia Johnson, Communications Coordinator. The purpose of this meeting was to review and compare 3 leading software vendors for a new district website and district-wide communications platform. This initiative aims to modernize the district's website and enhance integration with existing communication tools. The 3 vendors evaluated were Apogee, Finalsite, and Parent Square's Smart Sites. In addition to providing a financial overview, Ms. Johnson presented a summary of each product, highlighting key strengths and important considerations. The committee discussed concerns related to security, data protection, and robust accessibility and compliance, particularly in preparation for the upcoming ADA regulations taking effect in July of 2027. Discussion also focused on the back-end usability, user-friendly experience, multilingual support, scalability and future growth, ease of integration with existing communication systems, and the potential for significant user adjustment if the selected platform differed substantially from the current system. Additionally, Ms. Johnson showcased several school websites that have utilized each of the proposed platforms. From a financial standpoint, Taunton Public Schools currently allocates $55,000 annually to maintain its website and district-wide communications. This includes $11,500 for Edilio, yeah, and $44,000 for Parent Squares, totaling $275,000 over 5 years. A 5 years cost comparison of the proposed 3 vendors show Apogee at $314,000, Finalsite at $305,000, and Parent Square Smart Sites at $285,925. Although Smart Sites and Parent Square presented the most cost-effective option, Mr. Laurel and I wanted to ensure that the selection was not only financially sound, but also met all of the Taunton Public Schools' operational and communication needs. Both Ms. Johnson and Ms. Ashley confirmed that Parent Square Smart Sites has a strong reputation in K through 12 family communication platforms with newer and evolving tools. The system offers a comprehensive multilingual translation and accessibility tools, and she demonstrated a drop-down list with all of the different languages that it could do, demonstrated the scalability and the security and seamless integration with the existing Parent Square communication platform currently in use. Mr. Laura made a motion to recommend Parent Square Smart Sites to the committee as a whole for consideration at an upcoming school committee meeting, which will include an overview of our presentation and demonstration of the product. The motion was seconded by me. Upon approval, the timeline for design and development of the new district website is proposed to begin on January 1st of 2026, with the official launch planned for July 1st of 2026. The Special Program Subcommittee adjourned at 5:58 p.m.
Motion to accept the report.
Second.
On discussion, so this is adopt the recommendations on,
Should we just accepted the report?
Right, that's all. And then they're gonna come before us.
okay.
Yeah,
on the
we've given a
committee
recommendation of
presentation.
this one, but we would like you guys to see
Right,
it
so they're
before
gonna
we
be
make
coming
before we accept it as a whole.
At a committee of the whole. Okay,
Yeah,
great, thank you
because
so
it's a
much.
big change,
Right.
and we want to make sure that you, and it's, you're talking financially, so we want to make sure that you guys get to see, you know, a summary of the presentation that we saw before we move forward with it. We do think that that is the best selection, but I'd like you guys to see it first.
Absolutely, great. So a motion was made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Next up, we have the TESSA collective bargaining, back to you, Chairman Schaus.
Thank you, Dr. DeMello. So TESSA Collective Bargaining Subcommittee met on Tuesday, October 28th, 2025 at 4:35 p.m. This was the fourth meeting. Mrs. Fagan and I were present along with representatives from administration and the bargaining team. Ms. Santos was absent. Negotiations are still in progress. The next meeting will be Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. The meeting adjourned at 6:55 p.m. This concludes my report.
Motion to accept the report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Next up, we have the M&A collective bargaining, Chairman Laura.
The meeting has been, twice we've had the meeting, most successful, still in negotiations. We have 2 other meetings scheduled for this month, and so, looks good, very positive. Thank you.
Motion to accept
Oh, second,
the
I'll
report.
second you.
Motion made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Elementary Subcommittee, back to you, Mr. Laura, Chairman Laura.
The elementary subcommittee met this afternoon with the presentation of the Chamberlain School Improvement Plan. Myself as chairman, Ms. Santos and Mr. Pulowski, Superintendent Cabral, and Mr. Barata, along with Principal Jennifer Peters. Ms. Peters provided the subcommittee with a look beyond the numbers, truly articulating the partnerships and commitment that exists amongst the teachers, leadership team, and most importantly, the families. Principal Peters stated that academic excellence and emotional well-being are inseparable at Chamberlain Elementary. We are a school grounded in purpose where teachers know their students deeply, learning is intentional and joyful. Our improvement work centers in a simple idea, where students feel seen, they engage. Where instruction is meaningful, they grow. 2 of the priorities that were presented by Ms. Peters included one of rigorous instruction. All students will experience daily learning that promotes deep understanding, curiosity, and academic growth. Instruction will emphasize meaning-making, critical thinking, and evidence-based communication across all content areas, with an initial focus on English language arts. In grades K to 2, students will build a strong foundation, the phonemic awareness, decoding, and word reading through high-fidelity implementation of Wilson Foundations and data-driven intervention using DIBELS. In grades 3 and 4, instruction will extend this foundation to a deeper comprehension, vocabulary development, and evidence-based writing. A particular focus will be placed on ensuring that students with disabilities, SWD, and multilingual learners, MLLs, receive instruction that is both accessible and intellectually challenging, embedding scaffolds, language supports, and explicit modeling that enable all learners to be fully engaged in rigorous content. Now, in priority number 2, in student culture, all students will experience a school environment that nurtures emotional safety, belonging, and self-regulation. Daily routines and relationships will emphasize empathy, respect, and collective responsibility as essential foundations for learning. Social-emotional learning will be intentional, embedded with classroom instruction and community practices to promote self-awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. A particular focus will be placed on ensuring that historically undeserved subgroups, including students with disabilities, multilingual learners, and economically disadvantaged students, experience equitable access to the conditions that support engagement and success. This includes consistent restorative practices, culturally responsive representation, and proactive family partnership. Through these efforts, Chamberlain will cultivate a student culture where all learners feel known, valued, and empowered to thrive both academically and socially. Chamberlain's improvement plan exemplifies a thoughtful and deliberate roadmap for success using data and the assignment of teams or of individuals to progress, monitor the work. All of this work is to guarantee that each and every student is achieving at high levels. Principal Peters presented her SIP in a very positive fashion with much enthusiasm, dedication, and commitment to her position, detailing the plan, utilizing a multitude of resources and techniques to ensure that her goals and objectives are fully implemented. This, according to her, has created a more effective learning environment which offer greater results to the students. The meeting ended at 3:30. This concludes my report.
Wishes of the committee?
Motion to accept the report.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And the last item is Finance and Law. That's chaired by myself. Members of the committee include Mrs. Shavs and Mr. Vieira. First item was the use of facilities. Assistant Superintendent Monahan went through the list that's in your packet with surplus materials. All items except 2 were referred to the Gov deals. Is that the correct one? Gov deals. And the 2 items that were not referred to the Gov deals were surplus items, attic turf stock and turf shock pads. And the reason is that there was a local organization that's been very good to the community, including our teachers, our first responders, and so forth, that could have use and should stay local, and that was also accepted. That passed unanimously. Next item was the special education expense services. The attached memo explains that we're running a little bit less than what we did last year at this time, and if I can find that. All right, I lost it, but anyway, we were running a few $1,000s less, $5,000 less at this time, and that's that $50,000 budget line that we usually do for special education services, and that was also voted and passed unanimously. The next item was the Chamberlain School Solar Inspection. There's a memo in your packet. The inspection reports that everything is good to go and safe. It's a third-party electrical contractor that did not install the solar panels on Chamberlain. And besides a inverter that was replaced, I believe it was, everything is all set and back online running. And once again, that was voted unanimously to accept that report or that memo. Next item, we have disposal of surplus equipment. The Taunton, how did I get onto that other one? Okay, that was weird, huh? Because I know, because it was use of facilities. Gotcha, okay, gotcha. So I'm gonna go back to use of facilities. So I already covered the surplus items, use of facilities, attached memo. It was a long day yesterday, everybody. I apologize. The use of facilities were at the normal procedure where we waived some fees, and I did point out that there was one organization that we waived completely the fees, which is the Cronin's Family Thanksgiving Dinner, which takes place at the Mulcahy Elementary School, which of course serves so many of our families and students especially, and of course, we do waive those fees completely. That report was also voted and approved unanimously by the subcommittee. And the last two items was bills payable for FY '25 in the amount of $52,375.50. A couple of questions were asked and answered by Assistant Superintendent Monahan. Once again, that was voted unanimously in favor to pay the warrant. And the last item was the FY '26 bills payable in the amount of $1,636,170.52. Again, that was, a few questions were asked by Mrs. Shavs and Mr. Vieira, and one amendment to the motion that was made to approve the bills payable was item on page 25, which I just wanted to be recorded as voting present for Pride Inc. in the amount of $4,608, because I serve as Pride Board of Directors member and co-treasurer. And once again, that was voted and approved unanimously to pay that warrant in the amount stated. And that concludes my report.
Motion to accept the report and adopt the recommendations of the Finance and Law Subcommittee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And next we have new business, the Massachusetts School Building Authority Accelerated Repair Program. This is excellent news, Superintendent.
Yep, so great news for the Taunton Public Schools in the city of Taunton. And again, I want to commend the school committee, Assistant Superintendent Moynihan and Mark Freitas, and Superintendent of Buildings Chris Carmichael, one, for developing the SOI, two, for the school committee authorizing and approving us to submit the SOI. And last Wednesday, we were one of 48 communities that was accepted into the accelerated repair pipeline. So 2 Hamilton Street will be receiving brand-new exterior windows and exterior doors. So if you haven't driven by the Bennett Elementary School or the Galligan Elementary School or Martin Middle School, take a drive by and you'll see the quality of the windows that will be installed, we will begin to plan to install very shortly at Hamilton Street. So again, thank you for the support. And I need to thank our partners on the city side for their support, as the city of Taunton will be reimbursed close to 80%. So this is an outstanding project for the city of Taunton, so thank you.
Great, thank you, Superintendent. Wishes of the committee on that?
Motion to accept the report, the good report, and place it on file.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. I have 2 items on the new business. First was a postcard received from our student Melissa, what's that last name, Superintendent? Torino. And it says, "Dear School Committee, I am writing to thank you for the wonderful opportunity that you have provided me with. This conference has been a powerfully enriching chance for me to share about Taunton High School and in return acquire diverse knowledge to bring back to our community. Thank you, Melissa Torino." And the next one was also received by Secretary Fagan, addressed to Secretary Fagan. "Dear Taunton School Committee, I appreciate this opportunity that you guys have given me. It's a wonderful experience to check out other schools and learn about their ESL program to help and make ours better. It is also another way to help upcoming ESL students like I was. Again, I am extremely grateful for this opportunity," and that was Jillian DeLos Race. It's always nice to receive thank yous from our students.
Yeah, so
Superintendent?
those were 2 students who attended a learning excursion to Washington DC that I was able to participate with, and they just wanted to thank the committee because these are former multilingual students who were in the country less than 4 years, and they got to see two international schools. One was a middle and one was a high school. So they were very thankful for this opportunity, as this was the first time they actually visited DC.
Great.
Great
And one
news.
other item that was received by the school committee
Dear Dr. DeMello, thank you and the members of the school committee for voting to dedicate the Leadership Center to Joe. He would be very honored. It was a very special day for his family and friends. The ceremony was heartfelt and very special to the family. Each speech was very nice. The wall depicted stages of his long career in Taunton, and the culinary department certainly prepared a special luncheon. Diane Martin. I'm going to pass that around. Thank you. That's all I have for new business. On unfinished business action item updates, we have the food services government shutdown update. Superintendent?
Yeah, this is just a copy of the memo that I sent to the group via email, and I also believe I shared with the committee that funding was extended for an additional month, a day after I shared the memo with you.
Excellent. And wishes of the committee on that, just receive and place on file, would be
Yes.
appropriate? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. And the next item, we have a joint meeting with city council request letter follow-up. See enclosure, superintendent?
No, this is I believe this came up at our last meeting too, and with the request, was it Ms. Santos? To put it on the agenda for discussion amongst the committee regarding what next steps the committee should take.
What would you like to do, folks, committee members? You want to?
I mean, I guess this was part of, obviously, our consideration of what to do with Hamilton Street. And since that decision still hasn't been made, I still think this is important information, and I'm not sure why there hasn't been a response, seeing that it is now November, and we sent this out in April. So I don't know if we can resend or.
Is that in the form of a motion, Ms.
Sure.
Santos? Absolutely. The motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Excellent.
And just state nicely, hey, we sent this to you in April, can you please respond to it?
And I'll make sure to share a copy with the committee at the next meeting.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And let's see, action item update? No updates at this time. And do we have any press in the audience? I see no press.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion, hold on one second.
Oh.
Mr. Laura, please.
I take back my motion.
Well, it never made the table, sir.
No, I have one thing on unfinished business. Mr. Cabral, that outside fitness center that is opposite the tennis courts, we had a conversation about the color there was no defining color. Has any attempt been made to address that? It's in progress?
We actually discussed that not long ago during one of my facility meetings.
Okay, thank you very much.
And before we conclude, Ms. Mullen, did you enjoy your time tonight?
I did.
So it's been a long-standing tradition for the first meeting in May to bake your favorite dish for the school committee. So we welcome your
Not
favorite.
the best baker, but I'll give it a whirl.
Ms. Secretary Fagan gives some nice tips. Thank you. A motion to adjourn be in order?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Good night.